Hi everyone, welcome back to WebPrep. Let's get started with grid properties execution part. Now I'm started with grid overview. CSS Grid is a layout system that allows you to design web pages using rows and columns. It is perfect for creating two-dimensional layouts. To start using grid, use apply display grid to the container. Let's take one example. Here we are taking div class to grid container. Inside the div, take another div which is the child classes, name it as class grid item, or else you can take box. Here I am taking box, and here I am mentioning to box one, or else simply take one. Similarly create still more box div classes with name box. Okay. Here I am taking nearly 6 boxes. Okay. Now save it. Now style the each of the divs. Here I am taking container class to style it. Here we are taking display all the items in the container to grid. Okay. Now make it border to clean pixel and solid. The color you can take anything. Here I am taking gray. You can see this, and you can mention the width of the each block. I'm taking 200 pixel. Okay, then save it. Okay, now I'm styling the parent elements dot container to div. Make your background color to some aqua. Here I'm taking, and border to 1 pixel solid black. Here I'm taking, and the padding between the elements to 20 pixel, and text align to center. Now save this and observe the changes. Okay, have you seen all this? Okay, wait a minute. Here grid container we have taken. So grid container you have to mention here whatever the class name we have taken in the HTML, same you should have take here. Save this. Now observe the changes. Okay, have you seen? A simple block layout with grid items stacked one below the other. Okay, now we are discussing about the grid model. Let's understand the grid model. It includes grid lines, dividing lines of the grid. Next, we are discussing tracks, the rows and columns between the lines. As the space between rows and column lines. The device is like a table. It is sizing and placement. This is the one of the example of the grid model. Now we are discussing about the grid template. In these many columns and rows, our grid will have. We use grid template column to set column width, grid template rows to set the row heights. Okay, let's see one by one. Here already we have taken the boxes and we have styled the basic style. Now we will make some changes in this. Let's see. Here I am changing it to grid template, grid template columns to one fractional and two fractional. series. And also make the grid rows to auto. Here grid template rows to auto series. Auto. Okay, have you observed two columns? First two columns, one unit. No, first three columns in one unit, the second three columns in two units of y. Now we are discussing about the individual property of the grid columns. We define multiple columns quickly, usually repeat. For example, repeat three, one fractional unit makes three equal columns. Okay, let's make changes. Here I am commenting out the rows part, and then here simply I'm writing repeat repeat three times. Here we have six boxes, so we have to mention this. So one fractional unit. One fractional. Okay. Now save this. Now observe the output. Here if equal boxes side by side we have seen. Okay. Now we are discussing about the grid growth. We have seen about the grid column. Similarly, we will apply to the grid growth. Here we have to comment this. Here grid template rows apply here 100 pixels, another one to auto, another one to 50 pixels. Now save this and see the output. It is all the elements are arranged in the reverse direction from top to bottom with the 10 pixel width and 50 pixel of height. Okay, now we keep boxes, six boxes stacked vertically. The first is a 100 pixel height, the second auto adjust based on the content, and the third is 50 pixel height. Now we can see this with the three boxes. Okay, I'm commenting here the three remaining three boxes. Now you can see this, and you can see. Okay. Now we are discussing about the grid gaps to create space between grid items and use the grid property. This adds horizontal and vertical spacing between the rows and columns. Here we have taken the three boxes. Uh, Now we are discussing about the grid gaps to create space between the grid items. We use the grid property. This adds horizontal and vertical spacing between the rows and columns. Let's see an example. Already we have created the some div classes with the name box. Now we have to style it. Here we have already taken the grid template column, repeat to three times of one fractional unit. Now we have to add gap between each and every box to 20 pixel. It Now save this and you can see the output. 3 evenly spaced boxes in row with 20 pixels space between them. Have you observed this? Okay. Now we are discussing about the grid properties. The place item property is a shortcut to align items both vertically and horizontally inside the grid. Place item center plus everything in the middle of each cell. Now let's see the example. Here I'm writing grid template to column by 20 pixels. Similarly, for grid template rows to 200 pixels and place items to center. Okay. Uh, Remove this gap. Okay. Now save this. Now see the output. This is the output. One box centered both vertically and horizontally inside 200 and 200 pixel grid center. Here remaining boxes I have placed to the bottom. Let's change it here. Let's comment these two boxes, then you can clearly observe the changes. Okay. Now see. Okay, one box entered which is both vertically and horizontally inside 200 pixel grid cell. Okay. Now we are discussing about the grid auto placement. Grid auto placement helps us automatically place items into row or column. You can also control their size using the grid auto rows. Okay, here I am taking all the boxes. Okay, okay, now save this. Now we have to style each and every box. Here I am applying grid auto rows. Auto rows to min max to 200 pixel auto. Okay, save this. For 6 boxes in 2 columns and 2 rows. For each row has a minimum height to 200 pixel and grows based on the content. Okay, save this and observe the changes. Okay. You can observe carefully by adding the gap to this. Here I am adding gap to 10 pixels for each and every box. Change. Okay, have you observed all this? Now we are discussing about grid line naming. By default, grid lines are numbered, but we can name them to make layouts more readable and precise. We use square brackets to assign names to lines like start and end. This is the super useful when placing items using the grid column or grid row properties. Okay, here we have created namely 6 boxes and now we are styling each and every box. Let's make a comment all these properties except display. Here I'm adding grid template, columns, which is of start to one fractional unit, and in the middle two fractional unit, and the end. Now gap I'm mentioning here between each and every box to 10 pixels. Save this, save this, save output. Okay, so here we have taken 6 boxes. When the first column is one fractional unit wide and the second column to two fractional units, even though line name does not visually show, they they are useful in advanced layouts positioning. Now we are discussing about the nesting gates. Yes, you can put a grid inside the another grid. This is called nesting. The outer container is a grid and the one of its children can also be a grid with its own surface. Now see the execution part of the nesting grid. Here first we have to take grid. Again I am taking the div class to nested grid. Okay. Here I am taking two grids. Okay, inside the two div I have added the 6 boxes. Now here we have to close the another div slash div. Okay. Now see this style. Here we have already styled the outer grid. Now we'll style the inside grid. Okay, here I'm making the background color to observe the changes what we have occurred after applying the nested grid properties. Here I'm taking the blue violet and save this. And now I'm taking grid, nested grid. After display it to also a grid, display it to grid. Make the gap to 10 pixel. Then columns to one fractional unit, one fractional unit. One fractional unit and one fractional unit I have taken. Now we are applying the background color to some light green I'm taking. Now save this and make padding to 10 pixels. Okay, save all these. Now see the changes how One large box with two smaller boxes inside it arranged in the column in two columns. Now we are discussing about the animation shorthand. In CSS, instead of writing multiple properties like animation name, animation duration, and so on separately, we can combine them using the shorthand in order in name, duration, timing function, and repetition. Okay. Here I am commenting all the elements. Here also take one div class separately, name it as element. Side, side, side and save it. Now file this. Your dot element to 500 pixels and then background color to some blue and animation slide in for 2 seconds to infinite. Here we use the grid references. Slide in function from transform translate x to minus 100 instead of opposite direction to transform x to 0. The box clips hiding in from left repeatedly with a smooth aging effect. So this now you can observe the output here. Okay. Let's see what is keyframes. Keyframes define the animation steps. You can tell the browser what the element should look like at each stage of the animation, from to or by using the percentile points. Let's see another more example. Uh, Here we have used from and to. Now we can change it to by using the percentile 0 percentile. It will transform negative 0 or you can use as 100 pixel and size 50 pixel. Your opacity to 1. Here we are taking 100% opacity to save this. Same you have observed before and after the changes. Here we have changing animations to into different properties. Let's say not only hiding. Here we use fade out, fade in out. Up to 3 seconds. Open it. Here we have to fade in out. Okay. Fade in out. Can I save this? Now observe this. When the blue box this smoothly fades in and out in a loop. Okay. Now we are discussing about percentile in animation. Using percentages in keyframes giving you more control. For example, you might want something to start fast and end slow. You can define styles at 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. Any point you want. Let's take one more example. Here we are using these percentile properties as same as before, but with some changes. Here 100 pixel and 100 pixel 100% is fine. To transform relative y to 0 and remaining 50% transform minus transform translate y to minus 50. Here is and see the output. Here we have separator. So this make it height to 150 pixels. Save this. Here we have to apply the bounce property and only it will bounce. Save this. Here you can see the output. Here you can see the output. Now we are discussing about the responsive design with grid. Here also we can take, we are taking one div class with nodes name. Okay. Now in this grid, make this comment. Here we will apply the media property. to 600 pixels. Grid dot grid container to one fractional series. Series. Container. We have to apply the complete column to one on large screen with 6 columns and one small screen, one column stacked vertically. Okay, have you observed this? Now we are discussing about the media queries for columns. Media queries allows us to control layout at different screens. For example, for tablets, we may want 2 columns and for desktop, 3 columns. The minimum width keyword is used for this purpose. Let's see. Here we have to apply the minimum width. To 600 pixels. Keep it 3 times of one fraction. Below 600 pixels, one column or above 600 pixels, a column side by side. After reaching of the 600 pixel, automatically it going downwards. Okay. Thank you. Great job sticking through this session. Today we have learned how use CSS Grid to create complex structured layouts, how to control spacing, sizing and nesting, basics of animations using keyframes, and how to make design responsive using grid and media queries. The best way to master these concepts is through practice. So don't forget to experiment with code and build your own layouts. And of course, subscribe to our channel web for more tutorials.